10 worst muscle cars of all time. Welcome to the video, everybody. Let's rev up the engines and take a wild ride back in time to explore the top 10 muscle cars from the 1960s and 1970s that failed to leave their mark on the asphalt. Number 10. 1962 Dodge Dart. The Dodge Dart from 1962 didn't quite fit the typical muscle car mold. Usually muscle cars are big, bold, and powerful, but the 62 Dart was more like a bizarre experiment gone wrong. It had this strange look, especially at the front, with its weirdly placed headlights and an awkward grille that made it seem like it was designed by someone who may have been on a wild trip. Even though it could pack a serious punch under the hood with its powerful engine, like the 413 cubic inch V8, people just weren't into it. Maybe it was because of its odd appearance, or maybe because it didn't quite match up to what people expected from a muscle car. Whatever the reason, sales tanked, and Dodge had to quickly rethink things for the next year's model. Number 9. 1965 AMC Rambler Marlin. AMC was known for making some cool muscle cars, but the Marlin missed the mark big time. It started off okay from the front, but things got weird really quick towards the back. The roofline was way too long, making the rear wheels look stretched out and odd. Plus, the back end sloped down in a strange way and the rear glass just didn't sit right. Even though it had a decent engine and some neat features like the 270 horsepower V8, people just couldn't get past its awkward design. Sales were terrible, and the Marlin ended up being one of those forgettable cars that didn't quite make it in the muscle car world. Number 8. 1973 Pontiac GTO. The Pontiac GTO was once a powerhouse in the muscle car world, often hailed as one of the pioneers of the genre. But by 1973 it had lost its way. Back in the 60s it was all about power and style, with engines that roared and designs that turned heads. But as regulations tightened up on things like emissions and insurance, Pontiac had to make some changes. The 1970 model was the peak, with a massive 400 cubic inch engine that could really move. But by 73 things had changed. The biggest engine they offered only put out a measly 250 horsepower. Pontiac tried to salvage the GTO by giving it a new look, but it was a disaster. The 73 GTO was far from the sleek, aggressive cars of the past. Instead, it had strange headlights, an odd grille, and a sloping rear that just didn't work. Sales were dismal, and Pontiac eventually had to admit defeat. Number 7. 1978 Oldsmobile 442. The Oldsmobile 442 was another classic muscle car that lost its way in the 70s. It started off strong in the 60s with powerful engines and stylish designs, but by 78 it had become a shell of its former self. The new 442 was based on the A-body Cutlass Salon, which was far from a looker. It had a weird sloping rear, oversized stickers, and not much power under the hood. The top engine only put out 160 horsepower, far cry from the glory days of the 442. It's a shame to see those once great muscle cars reduced to shadows of their former selves, but it's a reminder that even the best can stumble when times change. Number 6. 1978 Ford Mustang II King Cobra. The 1978 Ford Mustang II King Cobra is often regarded as the low point in the Mustang's history. It came out during a tough time when gas prices were soaring due to an oil embargo. Ford tried to make the Mustang II appeal to people looking for fuel-efficient cars, but it ended up disappointing muscle car enthusiasts. The top engine option was weak, only producing 105 horsepower, a far cry from the powerful engines of previous Mustangs. Ford attempted to address the criticism by introducing a V8 engine option in 1975, but it still didn't satisfy hardcore fans. In 1978, they tried again with the King Cobra, decking it out with flashy add-ons like spoilers and stripes. However, under the hood it was the same story, no increase in power. The King Cobra failed to impress and sold poorly, signaling the end of an era for the Mustang II. Fortunately, Ford moved on to better things when they introduced the Fox body Mustang the following year. What do you think of our list of worst muscle cars of all time so far? Please like and subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified when we drop new videos. Number 5. 1975 Plymouth Roadrunner. The 1975 Plymouth Roadrunner marked a sad decline for the once mighty muscle car. In the 60s, Plymouth was known for producing fierce muscle cars, and the Roadrunner was one of their best. But by 1975, things had changed. The new Roadrunner was massive and lacked the aggressive styling of its predecessors. It was based on the Fury instead of the Belvedere or Satellite, resulting in a bland design that lacked flair. To make matters worse, the performance of the 75 Roadrunner didn't live up to its name. While it offered some luxurious features like power windows and seats, it lacked the high-performance engines that made the Roadrunner famous. The best engine option only produced 235 horsepower, nothing even close to the powerful Hemi engines of the past. The 1975 Roadrunner was a disappointment to fans of muscle cars, and its lackluster performance and uninspired design cemented its place as one of the worst muscle cars of the era. Number 4. 1978 Dodge Challenger. The revival of the Dodge Challenger in 1978 was a major disappointment. Instead of creating a new muscle car, Dodge decided to use the name on a Japanese car called the Mitsubishi Galant Lambda Coupe. This choice was widely criticized because the Galant Lambda was far from impressive, both in terms of looks and performance. It had bland styling and weak engines, with options ranging from a measly 77 horsepower inline-4 to a slightly better 105 horsepower inline-4. Despite its lackluster attributes, this misstep somehow lingered in the market for 6 years before finally being put out of its misery. It was a shameful attempt to cash in on the Challenger name, tarnishing its legacy. Number 3. 1968 Oldsmobile Tornado. The 1968 Oldsmobile Tornado suffered from a design identity crisis. While its initial release in 1966 boasted bold styling that aimed for a futuristic look, the 1968 refresh missed the mark. The front end in particular was criticized for its odd grille and hidden headlight setup surrounded by a bulbous chrome bumper. The rear, on the other hand, had a more sleek and sharp-edged appearance, creating a disjointed overall look. To compound the confusion, Oldsmobile decided to equip the Tornado with a front-wheel drive system, which didn't help its handling, especially considering its hefty weight. Despite attempts to compensate with a powerful engine option, a 455 cubic inch V8 with 400 horsepower and 500 pound-feet of torque, the Tornado failed to attract the desired attention from buyers. Ultimately, its unconventional design and drivetrain left it struggling to find its place in the market, leading to its lackluster performance. Number 2. 1973 Chevy Chevelle. The 1973 Chevy Chevelle marked a sad turning point for the iconic muscle car. Once celebrated as one of the top muscle cars of the 60s and early 70s, the Chevelle fell victim to changing times. With stricter regulations on emissions, insurance concerns, and rising gas prices, the Chevelle underwent a transformation that left fans disappointed. The third-generation Chevelle adopted the colonnade styling trend, similar to the ill-fated GTO, giving it a bland and uninspiring appearance. The design lacked the muscular profile that defined previous models, with a grille, headlights, and rear end that failed to excite enthusiasts. Despite attempts to appease fans with the option of a powerful 454 cubic inch V8 engine, its performance was hampered by emission regulations, delivering only 245 horsepower compared to its legendary LS6 counterpart. The 1973 Chevelle disappointed both in design and performance, signaling the end of an era for this once beloved muscle car. Number 1. 1975 Dodge Charger Daytona. In 1975, Dodge introduced the Charger Daytona, but it was a far cry from its iconic predecessors. This version, essentially a rebadged Chrysler Cordoba, lacked the bold styling and performance of earlier Charger models. Instead of the sleek and aggressive designs of the 68 Charger or the radical appearance of the 69 Charger Daytona, the 75 version was oversized and lacked any distinctive features. Its long hood and deck proportions combined with outdated details like round headlights made it look more like a land yacht than a muscle car. To make matters worse, its powertrain, a 190 horsepower 400 cubic inch V8 paired with a 3-speed automatic transmission, failed to deliver the thrilling performance expected from a Charger. With sluggish acceleration and uninspiring design, the 1975 Charger Daytona epitomized the decline of the American automobile industry during the malaise years and left a stain on the Charger's esteemed legacy. These cars might have started with promise, but by the 70s they had lost their way. After all, even legends can fall from grace. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below with any that we missed that should have been included in this list. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more awesome videos like this.